Welcome back to Autism Live. I'm so excited because I got my old friend back here with me. It feels like good times.
Back in the co-pilot seat.
Yes.
I guess, right?
Well, but honestly, I think you do better than I do in this seat, if I'm telling the truth. And we should just say...
Not a chance.
Well... Matt has been coming here for a while and being a guest with us, and he's been a regular. But then you also have your own show that you do here, and that has changed and morphed a little bit. But we expect you to come back.
I want to come back, so we'll be talking about it.
And you know we do.
At some point in the near future, you never know. You'll probably see me in that seat over there.
There we go, and we would all love and appreciate that, right? But how have you been? Let's start there.
I've been good. Family life's good. Everything's good.
Yes.
Nava and the kids are good. Everyone's good.
And for anybody who doesn't know, we refer to Matt's family as being the Brady Bunch of autism because you have a blended family. You and Nava have found love at this point. She came to the marriage with 4 children, 2 on the spectrum. You came to the marriage with 2 children, 1 on the spectrum. So there's 6 kids, 3 on the spectrum.
And you know what that adds up to, right?
A whole lot of fun.
Never a dull moment.
Okay, I was close.
That is a whole lot of fun.
It is a whole lot of fun. And in fact, there was a show done about your family that's available on the internet that was done basically for Australian TV. Is that correct?
For New Zealand.
For New Zealand TV. Which was really lovely. And I don't know why somebody hasn't picked that up and done an ongoing series. You're smiling because maybe is that happening? I don't know why somebody hasn't picked that up because it was... I know you guys, and it was fun to watch.
No, it was fun to do. I mean, it was kind of weird having the cameras there all the time, but it was fun. It was fun to do, and I think it was effective in what it presented.
Absolutely,
a loving family who's dealing with things that a lot of other people are dealing with, and we have our own kind of unorthodox way of dealing with things.
Because you have to.
And what we do have in our house is a lot of love and a lot of really wonderful, intelligent, gifted people.
Yes.
So it makes it really easy to go home at night and deal with whatever stress we have to deal with.
And you always have something more. I think that's one of the things that I got from it that I wished I'd known when my son was first diagnosed, because I've shared this before on the show that when my son was diagnosed, I was like, oh, we're dealing with autism. So in my head, that meant everything else goes away. This was the card we were dealt, the autism card. So when my landlord died and we found out he hadn't been paying the rent and I now was about to be homeless, I was like, no. And when my best friend was diagnosed with cancer, I was like, I'm sorry, did someone not get the memo that we got dealt the autism card? We don't get this other stuff.
Yeah, that's not fair.
Right.
You can't do that.
Right.
Real life can't come in here.
And then you start getting to this thing about, oh my gosh, am I the only person in the world who's dealing with autism and about to be homeless? And of course,
well,
everybody has
kind of dealt
there.
with a little bit of that too.
Exactly.
In our little television thing.
Exactly.
And ironically, it was a year ago. And ironically, here we go, we're going to move again.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah.
Well, this time I have to be a better friend. Last time I said I was going to help and I was going to bring you boxes.
Yeah, boxes.
And I didn't, and it didn't happen. And I still feel bad about it a year later. So this time I will be a better friend because that's overwhelming when it's time to move.
Yes, Nava deals with it much better than I do.
Yeah, you said she was on it.
Yeah, I'm a bit of an ostrich when it comes to moving. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to put my head in the sand. But she's amazing. She's a incredible, organized person when it comes to moving.
Well, even, I love getting to spend time with the son that I know that you have. And Will had come in. It was during the period of time that you were moving. You were doing your show. He came in and spent the day with us in the control room.
Yes.
And at some point I said something to him. I said, Will, how are you? And he said the most amazing thing. It was something along the lines of, I'm just happy to sit down and not have to pack a box. It was like so amazing. But it told me so much about the fact that she had put him to work and that he knew exactly what it was to have to move and that he had been doing these things. It was such a healthy moment.
He comes out with those gold nuggets every now and then.
It was and there was something about the phrase, the way he did it, that was just like, I just was like, good for you.
Yeah.
It was a sign of all kinds of good things happening. So I was impressed with Nava. I was impressed with him. I was impressed with how great he was doing. It was just a great, great thing. So I believe that Nava knows how to move.
She definitely knows how to move.
I might have to come and take some notes because
Yeah.
I don't know how to move. It's chaos when I move.
She will provide you with lots of crib notes.
Okay, all right, because I might have to do that soon too. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about families doing okay. You're going to give our love to Nava and to all the kids. And for people who are tuning in and aren't as familiar with you, Matt, you are with Autism Society of America.
I am.
And that's a relatively new thing.
Since September.
Yes. But you've been in the field of autism for a very long time, and as we said, you've got a biological son who's on the autism spectrum, and you have a blended family where there's 3 kids on the spectrum.
And a brother.
And a brother, yes. And your dad, for anybody who can't do the math on it, is the fabulous, many award-winning, including last night.
Yes, he just won a Canadian Emmy.
Which is what for? What
he
did
won
I
a Canadian
miss?
Emmy for something called. Forgive Me, I think it's called.
Okay.
And it was he played a priest who was involved in a scandalous activity and got the Canadian Emmy.
How about that? Was
I'm
he
very
there
proud
to
of him.
accept?
He wasn't. He wasn't.
Okay.
His manager was there and accepted the award for him.
Okay.
But he was very happy to have won. He was
Yes.
just in Canada. He was doing a film with Anna Paquin and Stephen Moyer and a bunch of other people, Melissa Leo, an independent film over there.
And are we allowed to ask how old your dad is now?
My dad is 87.
Okay, and still working. We were talking
still
before
working.
about how important it is to have a job.
Yes. I asked him once. I said, Dad, what would you be doing if you weren't an actor?
Right.
And he said to me, thought for a moment, he gave a dramatic pause, as only he can do.
Yes.
And really made it work for him. And he said, well, he goes, the alternative is too horrible to discuss. And I believe it.
I believe that too. Well, we've been thinking about him a lot. I know he's suffered a lot of losses this year, his brother and Mary Tyler Moore. And so please give him our love.
I will. He's he got hit hard by that. It was within a week of each other. And I think it was threw him for a loop. And as he said, it really said a lot about my own mortality.
I'm sure.
So he was a little trepidatious for a couple of weeks, but he's back to complaining about everything.
All right. Well, that's a good thing. I turned on the television the other day, and Roots was on. I don't know why, but Roots was on, and it was there was your dad in Roots, and I was looking. I was like, "Is this Roots? Is this?" And there was your dad in Roots, a very much younger.
That's right. You go through the history of television and find him in all the history of television.
He's there.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, well,
actually.
the history
Someone should
of
do
film.
that. Someone should go through the history of television and find that Asner.
Just find him, yeah. Well, he's a working actor. Okay, but so let's talk a little bit about, because you got something coming up, and I teased it a little bit.
Yes.
I said it has to do with Ben Affleck, and it has a little bit to do with what's the Disney movie?
Pixar, Inside Out.
Inside Out. That's
So basically, okay. So I like to do big things.
Yes, you do.
So I didn't wait long, and now we're doing something big at Autism Society.
I love it.
We're really excited about it. It's called AutFest.
Okay.
And it's the first international autism film festival in Orange, California.
Yes.
At the AMC 30 at the Block of Orange. We're going to be there 2 days.
When is this?
April 22nd and 23rd.
Okay.
And we're showing 10 films.
Okay.
So 9 feature films and a block of shorts.
Okay.
And some of the films we're featuring are The Accountant, and Ben Affleck is going to be there. He's going to do a Q&A with the audience. And he's also going to come and receive an honorary award for his performance in The Accountant, where he plays an autistic man.
I just saw it the other day. I want to say that we had reached out to the director of the film when it was opening to be on the show, and he chose not to be on our little show. And I'm going to hold that against him and invite him. He's still welcome to come back, and I'll even be nice about it. But I heard that there was some trepidation, that they were concerned about how the autism community was going to receive it. I watched the movie the other day, and I wished I'd watched it sooner because I would have been talking more about it. I think it's a film for everybody that everybody should be watching.
Well, I'll tell you something. He gave a great performance.
But also there is a bigger, I don't want to give it away for anybody, but there's something bigger in the movie that's more than just his portrayal of autism in the movie that I think is particularly,
Right.
all those things involved, I think are particularly worthwhile for our community to get behind, watch, and support and talk about.
Well, I'll tell you, the thing that I loved about the film, and
Yes.
look, I mean, we're honoring Ben, and he gave a great performance.
Yes.
But the thing I loved about the film is it's a film about a man
Yes.
who does some bad things.
Yes.
But it's a film about this character and his life and what's going on in his life. And he just happens to be autistic.
Yes.
And to me, that kind of role in a film, without really kind of highlighting it as a problem or as a situation that needs addressing, he has autism. He's autistic.
Yeah.
And this is his character.
Yes.
And this is his life. And we're looking at his life. And to me, it says that we've gone the next level. We've
Yes.
gone to the next level.
I agree.
And now we are portraying people in films, and we're not necessarily talking about their autism.
Yes.
We're talking about their character.
Yeah.
We're talking about what they do for a living. We're talking about that. We've come a long way. That's a
And
great
his
thing.
particular circumstance.
And that should be celebrated.
Yes, I agree.
So that's why we're
completely.
honoring Ben.
I agree.
And Inside Out,
Yes, which I totally get.
we're honoring Jonas Rivera and Pete Docter from
Yeah.
Inside Out. And we chose to honor Pixar. We chose to honor Inside Out, specifically Inside Out. And we're going to be doing a sensory-friendly screening in Sunday morning at noon. AMC has been a great partner of Autism Society doing sensory-friendly screenings.
Yes.
And so we're going to be doing a sensory-friendly screening of Inside Out with a Q&A with the director and producer, Jonas Rivera and Pete Docter, after the screening.
Love it.
And it's the first time this has ever happened. We're really excited about it.
Love it.
And it's going to be a wonderful thing because people, I think, want to talk to these people.
Yes.
And the reason we're honoring Pixar is because, not necessarily because they've done anything per se in the autism world, but what they've done for families and families of people with autism is immeasurable.
I agree.
I mean, anyone who has a child on the spectrum or knows an individual on the spectrum, they probably are in love with Pixar films. Yeah. They love Pixar films. I mean, you see Life Animated. There's a correlation there.
Yes.
And we wanted to honor them for the entertainment that they've given all of our families.
Well, and I had said too when Inside came out, and I hope that they're going to do a sequel. But what I saw too, so often we talk about perspective taking and how do we teach perspective taking to kiddos that are on the spectrum and how do we teach about emotions. Mm-hmm. I think it's one of the greatest tools ever made for that.
I completely agree.
Because the fact that
we had on the spectrum,
yes,
we had Jonas Rivera on,
yeah,
and we talked about that.
Exactly. And that's on our YouTube channel for those of you who missed it. That would be on the playlist. I was telling them earlier about make sure when you go to our YouTube channel, there's a button that says playlist. Go to that. You'll see all the categories. And there's a whole category that's on the spectrum with Matt Asner. And so that you'll find that interview there.
The very first show.
Was it?
It was.
I don't recall that. Well, that's fascinating.
I wanted to go in with a bang.
Well,
so,
you certainly did.
Jonas Rivera.
And it was really, and you know who else I talked about that we have an interview of? When I did the driving interview with Dr. Grandin, I talked with her about that film. She loved that movie.
Yeah.
She did not see it the same way that I did, that it's a tool for teaching kids about perspective taking. She was like, it was a great movie, Shannon.
Mm-hmm. So, it was a great movie.
And it was. I mean, you can't argue with her about that or anything else.
As a parent,
yes,
watching that film as a parent, I watched it as a parent, and so did Nava. We both sat there and we cried because
of course,
you sit there and you just think, oh no, oh my gosh, what have I done to my child? You know? And it's just it's a crazy experience to see. I never thought about any of that stuff, and they illustrate what happens at the coming of age.
Yes.
And it was beautiful. It was just a beautifully told story and well layered and gorgeous. And so sensory-friendly screening.
Yes.
Sunday morning, April 23rd.
Love it.
Tickets are available online.
Okay.
They have the website that they'll put up.
Samantha, can you put the website up for us of where they need to go for tickets? So those are two of the films.
Those are two of the films.
Right.
So the other films we have, and I'm going to try and do this by memory.
Okay.
So here we go. So Life Animated.
Which we love.
And we wanted to show that because it's really one of the best films about autism, I think.
Nominated for an Oscar
Nominated
this year.
for an Oscar. Ron is an amazing guy. Roger Ross Williams, I don't know if you've met him.
No.
Incredible guy. And,
Yes.
unfortunately, they're not going to be there, but what we are going to do at Life Animated after the screening is we're going to have a siblings panel.
Lovely.
So we'll have siblings, and people can ask them questions, and we can find out what these incredible people in the lives of people with autism go through.
Yes.
And the incredible support that they give their brothers and sisters with autism. So Life Animated.
Okay.
Swim Team.
Okay, I don't know that one.
Which is a new documentary.
Okay.
And a very good documentary about a swim team of kids who are autistic.
Okay.
Then let's see. Destiny, which is a Chinese film.
Don't know it.
About a mother and a son.
Okay.
What she's going through to get her son the education he deserves.
Okay.
Then Renha, which is a Malaysian film.
Okay.
Both dramas.
You truly are international.
International.
Look at you.
Both dramas.
Okay.
And that's also a film about a family that has a young child on the spectrum. Then we have, and now the block comes.
That's okay.
I mean, the films.
I have a question for you in the meantime. I want to know what was the process? People had to submit their films. Was there an application?
Yes, people submitted their films, and we have a committee an incredible committee of filmmakers and people who have children on the spectrum and people on the spectrum.
Okay.
And they looked at the films and scored them.
Okay.
And then we brought everything back and kind of made our decision based on that. Like I said, we have nine feature films.
Okay.
And a block of shorts that I think are really going to knock everyone's socks off.
Now,
And you mentioned it. It's international.
Yes.
We have a film from Malaysia. We have a film from China. We have a film from Australia.
Okay.
We have a film from Canada. We're really excited that the international community has kind of stepped up and sent their films in. For us to consider, and it's incredible.
Were you surprised at the number of films that you had to choose from?
Well, when we started the festival, the idea was I didn't know how many films we were going to get in.
Right.
But the idea was that we would do the festival, and the idea was to do it with films for the last 3 years.
Okay.
And just kind of take a look at the films from the last 3 years. Poe.
Poe is going to be there. We love Poe.
Poe is going to be one of the films, and John Asher and Julian are going to come in and do a Q&A after that film. And Jack of the Red Hearts, we're also going to feature
which
Jack
I
of
have
the Red
still
Hearts.
not seen. I cannot believe I've not seen that movie.
Here you go. Come down to the festival. You can see it there.
Okay.
What was I saying?
About the number of films. So were you surprised that there were as many films to choose from as you ended up getting to choose from?
Well, like I said, we were looking at 3 years, a bracket of 3 years.
Right.
And we had people asking us, to submit their films for films that have been
10 years ago.
Brilliant, wonderful films.
Yes.
That were made 10 years ago or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to steer clear of older films, not because they're old.
Right.
They're just as relevant today as they were back then. But I really wanted this to be a celebratory festival, a celebratory meeting.
Sure.
That celebrated films that were current and that had been recently in the theaters or were coming into the theaters.
And it encourages people to make more films, which
Right.
I'm sure is part of this. Are any of the films in any way made by people who are on the spectrum? Have we gotten to that point yet, or is that in future years?
Well, one of the calls to action or for submissions was for autistic filmmakers to submit their films. Most of the submissions that we got for autistic filmmakers were for the shorts category, and there will be some autistic filmmakers in the shorts category.
Okay.
A couple in particular. Danny Bowman's going to have a film in the shorts category. There's an incredible film called Even in Death.
Okay.
That is a short, and it's a wonderful, wonderful animated short about a young child whose grandmother, who gets a call at his school, and his grandmother is dying, and he has to come home. And he ends up kind of following death home to his house. And what happens when he gets to his house is really beautiful. And and sensitive and touching. And Nav and I both watched that film, and we were just in tears.
Oh, wow.
And it's beautifully animated and really just a gorgeous film. So that's a 5-minute short that we'll show. A young man with autism made that.
Wonderful.
So we're really happy that that we did get some submissions that had artists that were autistic.
I want to bring my son to this because my son is a budding filmmaker. You know, he's more in the talking stage, and then he'll make, like a 40-second thing. But I want him to see. He got to go to a film festival with me recently for a film that I did, a short film that I was in, and he was like, they do this? Like, this can happen?
Yeah.
And so I want him to see that, in this scale and autism, I want him to see, because when we give our kids these role models to see, oh, this can happen, sometimes we get greater things. Now, we've got like 2 minutes left. What else do you need to tell our audience? Did we give them the website, Samantha, of where to go yet? Let's give them again.
AutFestASA.org or .com.
Okay.
AutFestASA.com.
And that's where we go to get tickets.
Tickets and all that. And the great thing,
Yes.
I've got a couple. We're going to go over a little bit here.
Okay. All right.
All right. So the great thing about AutFest, one of the great things about AutFest is I'm getting calls from people from around the country who say they bought tickets and they're coming. They're bringing their kids. They're coming from Atlanta, from Florida, and that to me says that we're doing something right.
Yeah.
And it says, that's what I wanted with this. I wanted something that was going to have an effect on people, and that was going to make people say, hey, I want to go see that. I want to bring my family to that. It's just I'm very proud of what we've done, and I'm very proud of what my committee's done.
Yeah.
What Kaylee Millette, who works for me, she's been incredible. Scott Badish, the president of the organization, has been incredible. My board has been incredible. I think we're starting something here that's going to be an annual thing that will really be an important thing in the autism community and in the film community.
Yes.
So, and I'm going to switch gears now.
Okay.
I want to talk about one more thing.
Okay, let's do it.
We have a national conference coming up in July.
Yes, in Milwaukee.
Yes. And I hope you come again. I know you were there.
We just were talking about it yesterday. I still got to figure some things out.
I know you were there in New Orleans.
I did go to New Orleans, and it's a great conference.
It's a great conference, and for professionals, for families looking for answers, resource fairs are hard to come by now.
Yes.
It's difficult, and some are leaving, and it's difficult. And one of the greatest things about our conference is you can come and find answers, and you can see alternatives and wonderful things that you can look into.
It was truly, it's got a feel to it that has nothing else that I've been to before. First of all, I met more adults on the spectrum at that conference than any other place I've ever been. And it was very eye-opening to me, the things that they talked to me about. I came home with, and I reevaluated some things and, looked at it in a different way. It was truly a meeting of all kinds of minds. If you really want to see the spectrum in all its glory, it's a great conference to go to. And there was so much information.
Yeah.
Any possible thing that you wanted to know about, somebody was presenting on, or somebody had a booth. I mean, it really was a place where you could find anything.
And I'll tell you something. I'm seeing it from behind the scenes.
Right.
I have never been to a conference.
Well, you're
so
gonna
I'm seeing it. So I'm seeing it from behind the scenes, and I'm so impressed with my team, who's putting this together. I'm just really impressed, and the care that they're all all having with this. It's incredible.
So they can find out more about that on the website.
Yes, and you'll flash that up. I sent it in to.
Yes. Let's put the other website up for that. It already has information, and you can start to make your reservations.
Yes.
And start to, I know that some of the speakers are starting to be announced, because I saw somebody announce yesterday. We love Kara Kaczynski. She's been a semi-regular here on the show. And one of the things that was particularly fun for us last year, she was there at the conference with her 2 boys that are on the autism spectrum, and her older son was doing his first speaking thing with his mom there. 16, 17 years old-ish is what his age range was. And so we were around them and we're friends with them, and there was some nervousness about how was he going to do. One of my favorite things about the conference that I hope they're going to keep is that every morning there's somebody who gets up and does kind of a talking highlight of what happened the day before, and about what's trending, what was a buzz, because you can't go to all the talks. You can't possibly physically be. So to hear every morning what was happening, and there was one morning the day after Jacob Kaczynski's talk, the speaker got up and he said, okay, here's the thing I want to talk about. This young man who got up and spoke for the first time, and spoke sharing the stage with his mother and how amazing it had been. And I just saw yesterday that he's getting his own talk this year at the conference. So don't miss that. If you go, don't miss hearing him speak. He's an amazing young man, and how exciting, how excited he was, and I got to be there to see, and now see that he gets to have his own talk. It's a cool thing. You're not going to see that everywhere.
You're not.
So definitely a thing to go to. And it's in Milwaukee.
It's in Milwaukee.
Last year when it was in New Orleans, I'd never been to New Orleans, excuse me. And it was great because it was a great place to be, but I was not used to the humidity, and we came off the plane at 9 o'clock at night, and it was like breathing in a swimming pool. So Milwaukee in mid-July will be much nicer, friendlier. I'm sure that it can still be hot and humid, but not like New Orleans.
Yes, and the Brewers are in town, so you can go to a Brewers game.
Yeah, well, okay, there you go. What kind of sport is that? Is that a...
Baseball.
Okay, that's baseball.
Yeah.
See, this is, that's not
I think they're playing the Phillies.
Oh, okay. So I've heard of the Phillies. Okay, so you can do all that. An amazing, amazing place. Okay, so we're 3 minutes over. Anything else you want to share?
Let's go 5 minutes over.
All right, do it. What do you want to talk about?
No, I mean, I just want to say that it's great to be back here, and I always enjoy sitting with you.
Well, I love it. I was excited this morning because a lot of times with my guests, at least a part of my brain has to think about, taking care of them and making sure that they're comfortable, because this can be intimidating. I never have to worry about that with you, so I get to just relax and riff with you, and it's always enjoyable.
Yes.
So we absolutely, the door is open. You are welcome to come whenever you want, and not only be here with me, but to do your own thing, and we're going to work that out.
Yes, we will.
So there you have it. But again, want to tell people, get your tickets to AutFest.
AutFestASA.com, April 22nd and 23rd at the Orange AMC 30 Theater in Orange.
Okay, so there it is up on the screen. And
if you act quickly,
yes.
If you act quickly, you can buy tickets to the VIP reception.
Ooh.
And not many people are going to get into that.
And who do you get to rub elbows with at that?
Well, any of the VIPs that are going to the ceremony will be there.
So it's 2 days.
Do the math.
It's 2 days, and so they need to look at the schedule and see which films that they want to do. But is there like a grand gala opening to it? That's when the
There's
VIP
no grand gala opening.
There's the VIP reception.
But the Saturday will be a film day, so it'll be all films on Saturday.
Okay.
Sunday is all films,
okay.
and then we have a big soiree. At the VIP reception, 50 yards from the theater.
Is that the day you give out the awards?
Yes, that is the day we give out the awards.
So
do the math.
So do the math on that about who will be at the VIP reception. But those are limited, and if you want one of those, you got to get that right now.
Very limited.
All right, and then definitely, if you can, check out and make your arrangements to go to Milwaukee this summer.
Yes.
Because it's worthwhile.
You will not be sorry.
No, you won't be sorry. All right, thank you so much for being here. You have to come back sooner as opposed to later.